earlier this week, I said that Mac Jones is operating this offense just like Brady did when he had his first crack at it in that first year in 2001. And then Kurt Warner even went on and raised it and said that Mac Jones is being asked to do more and is actually doing more than what Brady did. You were there. What do you think when you see Mac Jones run this offense right now?
Well, looks really good, and that's coming from the standpoint. If you go back and look at, weeks 1 through 5, you saw him making good decisions. You saw him making some good throws. But what we really came away with watching Mac in those early few weeks was the fact that this kid was getting destroyed. I mean, he would release the ball and get leveled, and these weren't little hits. These were legal, hardcore hits that would have shaken up any quarterback in the National Football League. And the thing that really got my attention was the fact that not only did he continue to stand in there and make great throws, but he didn't get discouraged, and he didn't try to do more than he should. And a lot of those things are reminiscent of how Tommy played, right? I mean, go out there, don't make mistakes, manage the offense. We got a good running game. We're going to ground and pound when we can, and that running game, as it always does, opens up the passing game. And there are a lot of similarities between those two, but I wouldn't say that, Mac Jones is being asked to do more than Tom did, because in that first year, there were so many things that people didn't realize going on with injuries and this, that, and the other. Tommy managed it about as good as you could do for a guy stepping in.
So give me some of those things we might not be aware of from Brady's first season that you're talking about.
Well, I mean, look, the number of times, I can tell you this much, the number of times that number 12 in New England, and I'm sure, there's times where it's happened down there in Tampa, went out in that field where he was 75%, 80% dealing with, a toe or dealing with an ankle or dealing with a hand, dealing with a shoulder, dealing with broken ribs. I mean, he's one of the toughest players, and you don't hear that very much from offensive linemen talking about quarterbacks.
So I know that. So the fact that you're being coy right now, are you telling me that as a retired man, a grown-ass man, that 20 years later you're still afraid of talking about injuries about the Patriots from 20 years ago? Am I picking that up with you, Matt Line? Am I picking that up because that's the rule? Like you're still, even in retirement, not allowed to talk about 20-year-old injuries from a season?
Well, just hold on a second. The Belichick drone's about ready to fly over. I'll have about a 3-second window here.
Well done, Matt. Well done. So no, but looking at Jones, do you see moments where it looks like that looks exactly what Tom did in that first year? Do you have moments like that?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, and listen, I'm talking to the guys that are playing there now, the David Andrews and, guys that have been there and they're leaders in their own right. One of the things they said back during training camp, before anybody saw what this kid was going to do when the bullets were flying for real, they kept saying, hey, man, I've got faith in this kid. This kid came in. He's ready to work. He's ready to get it done. So that told me everything I needed to know going into it. I didn't have question marks whether or not they brought in the right guy. It was just, okay, what's going to happen when it really comes down to it, and there's one of those situations. But, look, this kid continues to impress. He continues to get better. And I would say that as a whole, my biggest worry for this team this year was not Mac Jones. It was, hey, you brought in a lot of different chess pieces. How in the world are you going to get them all to play together in season one? And it's taken a little bit of time to develop those things. But as you noted earlier, the defense is playing really good football, really good fundamental football. And the secondary up front, the whole nine. The offense is getting it done. Again, the running game, in my opinion, is key. And that's opening up everything else, but they got a quarterback that can make the throws.
Yeah, Matt Light here on the Rich Eisen Show, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Look, man, it's always dicey to even twitch in the direction that I twitched in earlier this week, and I'm doing with you right now, because the ultimate headline is, Mac Jones is another Tom Brady, and clearly there's only one of those. We'll never see another like Tom, ever. And that said, though, having somebody run the offense in a manner that looks efficient and smart, and that could blossom into somebody who can make any comeback happen at any fourth quarter during a season. Like, do you think we're going to start seeing that sort of stuff out of Mac Jones? Like, is that the next level that we're going to start seeing? Because we're already seeing the Brady-esque type performance in the first year at quarterback, Matt?
Well, look, I mean, look at the similarities, right? They got Tommy comes in the league, has Bill Belichick. Matt comes in the league, he's got Bill Belichick. That's a big part of the equation, right? I'm not saying that Bill did everything. I'm not saying that Tommy was responsible for everything. I'm just saying when you put a combination of, arguably the best coach in NFL history with a kid that wants to get better every day, is competitive as hell, and works his tail off to make sure that he does it better tomorrow than he did today, you should expect to see a guy that's going to make plays like Tom did. Now, there's a lot of other factors that go into that too. And we all know that the length of the season when you get from college to the NFL takes a toll on you. Injuries take a toll on you. But I wouldn't say it's a stretch to assume that we'll see a progression much like we did with 12, because this kid has that it factor. Look at all the other teams that don't have it. It's real easy to see when you don't have it. We have it here in New England.
Yeah, and I had Matthew Jude on a couple weeks ago, and I asked him about Mac Jones, and one of the things that he said he liked about him and that he noticed is the spirit that he takes coaching with. And that sounds like he's being ridden pretty damn hard. Did Brady get ridden?
Oh, listen, hey,
back in the day?
I'm going to tell you right now, man, no one was off limits. That's one of the things that, look, it's not easy playing in New England. It's not easy, under a Belichick coach system. That's a fact. A lot of guys came from other places, couldn't believe that, we had full pads on. Now, this is back in the day when we actually wore full pads, but, couldn't believe that Bill wrote us as hard as he did, but no one's ever off limits. Tom Brady got dog cussed and was on the low light reel as much as any other player.
His first year or throughout?
Oh, man, all the way to the end, my friend.
No kidding. So here he is. He's a three-time champ and whatever, and he's getting circled and dog cussed is what you're saying.
Yeah. Listen, and there's a part of you as a competitor, we all know that there's hierarchy in this world, right? I mean, not everybody gets into the fancy country club. They definitely don't look at me and say, let's open the doors for that one. But when everybody's expected to do the same thing. Bill demands everything from everyone. So it's kind of nice to know that nobody is in a pedestal. We were all in the same hole, the same pit of despair.
Right.
From one of my favorite movies. But
nice.
We were all in it together, right? And I think that there's a little bit of comfort in that, knowing that, hey, look, doesn't matter how many dollars, you're pulling in or, what your name is on the back of your jersey, we're all treated the same.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.